I'd like to be able to say that I am someone who never judged others. But if I said that, I'd be lying. I've gone through times in my life when I've judged people who are different from me. But I realized at one point that I had to change that attitude. And one way in which I did it is just by looking at myself. And so I looked at the difference in my physical appearance, for instance. When I was running marathons, I was a lean machine, totally lean. A few years after I went through my hardships and my cortisol was going crazy in my body and things weren't working right, I got on the scale and I was in shock at how much weight my small frame was carrying. There have been times in my life when I had no money at all, and times when I was more than comfortable. I was the same person. I have sat with people in the slums of India and talked with people who live in the houseboats of Cambodia, and I've sat in some of the most fancy hotels in the world. And people in one position are the same as people in the other. I can't judge between them and their circumstances. What's the point? People are people, and they're all extraordinary and incredibly interesting. I have read and studied and have the Quran, the Buddha Sutras, the Hindu Vedas and Upanishads, and African traditional religious texts, and all kinds of other world religion facts and texts. I love them all. And I love having people of all different viewpoints in my life. I realized in my life that the times when I was a judger were times when, one, I wasn't quite sure of where I stood on my own personal conviction, and so when I would have conversations with people, I would tend to be defensive. Two, I was often a judger when I was afraid. So if I didn't understand somebody or their viewpoint, then it would cause fear in me, and that would show up as judgmentalism. But I realized I don't have to do that. I can know my conviction and accept people who are different. I don't have to be afraid. What is there to be afraid of? I gave up being a fearful person, and that led to me giving up being a judger of others. I gave up judging, and it created a freedom in my life and an openness to relationships that I could never have had before. And it helped me to reduce the distraction of my energy, because judging takes energy away from what we really want to do with our lives. Why spend time judging others when we can spend time creating ourselves and developing ourselves and creating the life we truly desire? So I gave up judging. If you have not yet given up judging, would you like to join me? Here's your opportunity to get free. We can all have our convictions, but while we have our convictions, we don't have to judge others. We can let them have theirs too. And we can be friends, and we can work together, and we can learn from each other. That's why I gave up judging.